Okay, today we're going to do a drawing of an electric shaver. I'm going to draw the product in analog, and then we'll transition it over into like a rendering digitally. So right now we'll just sort of do a little drawing, start with a little thumbnail, construct a interesting perspective for the product, and then transition it over and render it out a little bit more. Leave the rendering to the digital side and the drawing on the analog side. So that's the plan for this video. So we'll do a little thumbnail side view sketch. Just to kind of get the right shapes. And I'm looking at some reference just to kind of make my life a little bit easier as far as what I need to have drawn as far as the line work is concerned. So at the top I've got the trimming blades, and then I have this sort of section here which is, you know, some sort of accordion style, so it has some sort of movement, and then we have this nice flowy form that will be interesting to render. Maybe we have this sort of power button here. Maybe it follows the line, the form there. Okay. All right, so that's just the sort of side view of it. Got a pretty good idea, and we can kind of come on and do a nice drawing, larger, over on this side. So there I just drew through my object to kind of show you how this line would sort of look. And really the only important part here is that we kind of have this line in perspective. You know, we've got this sort of curvature upward, but we also have to respect that it's this sort of triangular sort of angle. And then we'll kind of just work our way down to the bottom of the page. And so we have this sort of a clear form with a clear kind of byline down the center line. We have to sort of consolidate this sort of line work here. Maybe I want to like kind of have this a little bit sharper of a. You can always edit in post, but doing a better drawing is always better. So draw it once, see how it is, and then draw it again if you're not happy with it. Okay, we definitely need some ellipses. So again, I'm ghosting my lines so I can have something to work from, and now I'm just adding in maybe we don't need to kind of do too much here. We can always figure it out while we're rendering as far as cleaning that up, but it's good to have sort of 1, 2, 3 minor axes and ellipses, little columns there. And yeah, we gotta have to do the, let's say that we have the button here to turn it on. Maybe it's raised a bit, so I'll just sort of double those lines. And that's good. And yeah, we could, so I'm thinking that this part here will kind of be sort of nice grip, this sort of front part, and then also maybe that back part, and the line in between will be so I think we'll have something like this as well, and I can use some color to kind of help it along, but we can do that in to define the form a bit better. But that's pretty good. I'm happy with my line work. It's good enough. You know, a lot of sketching is just learning to know how to kind of work with a sketch and continue with it sometimes. You know, I make a lot of mistakes, but you can kind of work through them. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and maybe I'll just do some general, I like drawing and writing on things, so I can do a lockup with the vignette and maybe pointing out a couple different things like the on-off switch or materials, maybe do some shading. But that's probably it for the drawing. It's nothing too crazy. I quite like having some space up here, like the trap space up there. So I'm thinking of having a nice, you know, narrow box to go around. And you can always do this with a ruler. That's also totally fine. But I like to just go freehand. Practice my line work, my long lines. There. Okay, and so we can have something here to say on, off. Maybe we can do some, we had a little drop shadow here, just to kind of make this guy float. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, maybe I won't gonna go with a drop shadow on the main thing. And I can just start rendering it, and that's what will make this one feel more important. Because I kind of have line weight on both. Nice loose sketch. Simple one, you know, it didn't take too long. On-off switch, you know, we can call out the blades. And maybe we can kind of even texturize. I know we can do a lot in digitally, but showing a couple, like some similarities in right now, kind of some texture will denote that that's a similar kind of that's a similar material. So it looks pretty cool. And maybe yeah, maybe I can kind of do, I don't know, might be kind of nice to have a third something in this corner. So maybe I'll just sort of do a orthographic of the top, so you can kind of see the roundness of the head and maybe the design there. Maybe we can point out, it's kind of hard to point out, there's a lot of line work there, what is kind of interesting about this, but maybe we can kind of show these sort of blades by this kind of texture, and maybe just show that they're sort of all in their own component, individual component, show some dissecting kind of lines, and maybe this part of the design, or like these guys are nice and black, maybe I can show it here as well, you know, just something to kind of fill in the gaps. So again, just like communicating in the review that makes the most sense. It's a complicated kind of form. We can divide it several different ways. You know, if I wanted to kind of continue, maybe it might be interesting to kind of show a different version of this, you know, if we're not so set on the design and so forth. So that can kind of, you know, we can leave that a little bit, unfinished, and that's also totally fine. Okay, so generally pretty good sketch to kind of have a, you know, primary sort of perspective, some orthographic side views to kind of show the line work in different views. And now we'll take a nice photo of this, and bring it into Procreate and see how we